Chair Pinto, welcome to the committee.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair.
I will move to re-refer House File 5033 back to Children and Families Finance and Policy Committee, and also send Chair Pinto back to Children and Families Committee. We do have a DE2, so I will move the DE2. All those in favor of the DE2, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion prevails. The DE2 is adopted. Chair Pinto, to your bill as amended.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. So members, House File 5033 was really a bill to get two other bills before this committee. We're trying to sort of do some maneuvering. And the first of those bills takes up most of the bill of the DE2. It's House File 4697, and it has to do with reforming the state's process for reviewing when a child dies or nearly dies as a result of maltreatment. And so that process has been was identified in a Star Tribune series recently as being a really problematic process right now. Complicated, cumbersome, confusing, and problematic in other ways, which I'll be happy to get into. The portion of this committee's jurisdiction within that bill, and so within that DE2, is the portion that has to do with data practices immunity. I don't actually have the DE2 right in front of me, but it's a number of pages in. I believe it's subdivision 5, and that language, a number of paragraphs, are within the committee's jurisdiction. I will note that it's modeled entirely on the process for data practice immunity for the current fatality review process, developed by Lead Scott and by Representative Moeller. Thank you so much. And Representative Moeller, with just two small changes, which I'll point out to you in 1 second. And so in the DE2, line 7.8, it says the commissioner shall disclose information regarding a critical incident upon request. Under current law, it says the commissioner may disclose that information, and we want to make sure that that information does in fact get disclosed. And then finally, at the top of page 8, it provides, this is a new provision providing immunity for somebody presenting information or gathering information from liability relating to the presentation of information to this panel. We want to make sure, unless there's the person is acting in bad faith, and we want to make sure that folks feel free to share information in these reviews. These are not investigations, I want to emphasize. There's a separate criminal investigation, maltreatment investigation, employment investigation. This is something just stepping back and doing a systemic review. And then the final piece, the bottom of page 8, is, I believe it's House File 4727. It would establish as you can see, a Supreme Court Council on Child Protection that over an 18-month period, working with multiple branches, multiple backgrounds, to say how can we improve our child protection system. Happy to answer more questions about that. I have no testifiers, and thank you, Chair, for the opportunity.
All right, thank you, Representative Pinto. And I will note, members, just because sometimes the lines between our branches of government can sometimes get blurry, I will just clarify that we are inviting the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court to set up this council, and you'll see there's a letter in your packet that our current Chief Justice Hudson is supportive of these efforts, and so this has been a joint effort, but we are not telling the judicial branch what they must do. We are inviting them to set up a council as they have are supportive of the work that we're doing. So with that, are there any members of the public wishing to testify on this bill? All right, not seeing any, we'll move on to member discussion. Representative Johnson.
Chair Becker-Finn, Chair Pinto. I'm intrigued on this. I think it's an important issue, but the only question I have is when these reviews start going on, before, during, or after the law enforcement death investigation?
Representative Pinto.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Representative Johnson, thank you for the question. This would generally be after the investigation. I'm going to need to just catch up my brain a little bit about, I believe, so this is going to be after maltreatment determination is made. It's possible that there could be a portion of investigation occurring, but I believe we have language in here that kind of allows, I mean, certainly, and you know, I'm a prosecutor, would be important to me to not get in the way of a criminal investigation. And in general, it's going to take some time before this begins. So maybe I'll leave it at that for now.
Representative Johnson.
Chair Becker-Finn, Chair Pinto, we're somewhat in agreement on this, that the investigation, the court trial must must go through before this review because it could cause some issues in that during the trial portion.
Representative Pinto?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I do want to clarify, Representative Johnson. So certainly that's the case regarding the investigation. I will say that right now, one of the many problems with the current system is that we wait until all litigation is concluded, which means that a death might have occurred 8 or 9 years ago by the time the review issues a report, because you have to wait all these years for things to happen. Most states do not wait for the end of litigation, meaning either criminal litigation or civil litigation. So I mean, we're very much an outlier in states doing that. And so this is set up so that, the investigation may well be concluded. It may be that there may be a court process that's happening, and that's why we want to make sure this is sort of cordoned off from that. There are separate processes going on, because that's true in most states. We just don't want to have to wait so long.
Representative Johnson?
Chair Becker and Chair Pinto, I'm concerned about the first court hearing, the first determination. Whatever happens after that, this review could go on, but I think we should wait till after that first determination.
Okay.
Representative Scott?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for the good conversations we've had on this, Chair Pinto. And I think it's really important work that's long overdue, and I think the new setup of what you're doing in this will be one that is, I think it'll be more thorough, and I hope that it will be more thorough. And for other members of the committee, I did share with Chair Pinto, several other states are already doing this. And yes, this is the report that I gave a copy to. I think that's Kentucky. There are several states. Oregon have some great data. And what I want to refer to here is the annual report. And right now, the language in this bill says that the commissioner shall publish a report of the review panel. And the report shall include, but is not limited to, de-identified summary data. This is on page 8.7 and following. Not be limited to data on the number of critical incidents reported to the panel, the number of critical incidents reviewed by the panel and local review teams, and systemic learnings identified by the panel and teams, and so forth. These reports that other states are doing are so thorough. They have so many really good data points that I think I would hope that the department would look at some of what's happening in other states and look at that data and do their report based on some of those. And I know you don't want to delineate what those other data sets are right now, but I do hope that the department will look deeply into that, because I think those reports are so good, and they give a summary even in there of some of these incidences, and then they give recommendations to the legislature based on what they've learned by all the data points and all by looking at all this. So I think it would really help inform the legislature and the public on the decisions that are made going forward to close any issues that are out there that are keeping kids at risk. So I just wanted to put that on the record. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Seeing no further discussion, closing comments, Representative Pinto.
Thank you so much, Chair and members. And yeah, Lead Scott, I've really appreciated our conversations as well, and happy to continue discussing that area with you, those lines 8.10 to 8.12, because as I'm looking at it, I could certainly imagine, I don't want to be too prescriptive at the start and too detailed, but I could imagine there may be sort of an additional, phrase or two in terms of describing the kind of things we're wanting to get at in the report. And even as I'm looking at it now, I'm having some ideas about that. So let's continue to talk. And thank you, Chair and members. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you. With that, I will renew my motion to refer House File 5033 as amended to the Children and Families Finance and Policy Committee. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion prevails. Thank you, Chair Pinto.
Heading back. Thank you, Chair.